10 o'clock. So, y'all know Coach don't wait on nobody. So we ain't gonna wait either. Happy to be here today. Coach is traveling and on the road. But man, he left us in capable hands. We got the one, the only, the great Asaad Faraj. So I always tell this story, Asaad. So you probably get tired of hearing me saying it, but I remember when I went to one of my first fast start schools up in Chicago, and so I was at $135,000 a year at that time, and I said to myself, "Man, that's a lot of money. And if I could ever make it there, that'd be all I needed." But he inspired me so much, and he always has, and been a good example through the hierarchy, and an even better friend. And I just really appreciate you, brother, and your everything that you do for me and the hierarchy and all that stuff. So without a further ado, I'm gonna turn it over to you, Asad.
Hey, thank you so much. So you want me to just kind of share some Q&A? I'll share for a few minutes and we'll see if anyone's got any questions, if that's all right. But
Yes, sir.
awesome. The first thing I want to just challenge you guys to all do is this is most people in Primerica condemn themselves, crucify themselves, hold themselves accountable for every person that quit, for every chargeback you hang on to, and let those no's fester in your heart, your head, your spirit, all the rejection. And if that's what you're doing, okay, if that's what you're doing, and we're in the people attraction business, then how are we ever going to attract people? And one of the biggest mistakes most of us make is we allow our track record stop us from attracting people. We allow the people who are not doing well stop us from attracting people. And I want to just remind you that in the Bible, in Isaiah chapter 43, verse 18, this is not a suggestion from God, but it's a commandment from God to forget the former things. Okay. I know how you guys wake up in the morning. It's the same way everybody wakes up in the morning. If you wake up, open your eyes, lay in bed for a few minutes without any intention, you know what happens? Every failure, everything wrong, every problem just kind of floods your mind. That's what happens if you just wake up with no intention. That's why we're commanded to forget the former things. And the rest of that scripture says, do you not perceive it? I want to do something new. Well, the new can only come after you forgetting the former things, not holding yourself accountable, not punishing yourself for it, but literally forgetting it. To forget the former things is, I want to put rivers in your desert, streams in your wasteland. We had Charlemagne Jennison speak on our Sunday night Zoom training this past Sunday, and he's what an incredible story. He was, of course, born and raised in Haiti. Haiti's literally the poorest country in this hemisphere. I've been there 4 times. I've been there before the earthquake. I've been there after the earthquake. And man, you go to Haiti, and I remember seeing this area. It was like, I guess, a subdivision, a neighborhood, whatever you want to call it. And just as far as my eye can see, all you see is these 4 sticks in the ground and tarps. So some people think, well, if I wish I had a nicer home, but man, their homes in Haiti, they have no walls, they have no floors. They have 4 sticks and a tarp over their head. That's it. And they wake up in the morning and they just kind of walk up to a curb and they sit. Don't know where they're getting food, don't know where they're getting water. The average person makes $1 a day, and that's the environment that he grew up in. And to come into Primerica, $1 million a year. I mean, he comes from a place where the average person makes $1 a day. And the long story short, he shared his story about the first 9 years and how he went from 40,000 to 30,000, back to 40,000 to 45,000 to 28,000. That's the stuff you don't hear from a lot of people. You compare yourself too often to Carlos Leon and Mika Saunders and Miguel Illich, going from zero to hero and nothing flat, and going on to make $1 million a year in 3.5 to 6 years. But that's not the majority of the stories in Primerica. The majority of the stories is I love Chris Coop's story. It took him 9 years to make 50 grand, and the next 10 years went over 2 million. So I want to encourage you. It doesn't matter how many years you've been here. It doesn't matter what you made in last year, the year before, that. Every one of us can quote hundreds of leaders in Primerica. who from nowhere started to build it big and become so supposedly the company's like, superstar, hero of the month, whatever you want to call it. Bill calls it the flavor of the month, but that could be you too. Okay. But it's not a suggestion. It's a command from God to forget the former things. Next thing I want to share with you is I want to remind you that in essence, we are in the people attraction business. Some people struggle with attracting people. And of course, your ability to attract people determines the amount of people you bring onto your team, the size of your team, their desire to hop on your meetings, hop on your trainings. And we're not in, by the way, we're not in the financial service business. Some people think that. We do a ton of investments in our hierarchy. We do a ton of life insurance, a ton of legal protections. That's all good. But if we were in the financial business, Art Williams would only have, our whole company would still be one office in Columbus, Georgia. Okay. So if we were the financial business, maybe we'd have two offices in Columbus, Georgia. By accident, we would have grown a little bit. But we are in the people attraction, leadership development business. That's how we went from a high school football coach in Columbus, Georgia, to almost now 6,000 regional vice president offices all across the country. So how do you attract people? And I keep things simple. So here's how you attract people. Ready? You have to be enthusiastic and positive. Okay? Enthusiastic and positive. Well, how do you become enthusiastic? Enthusiastic simply means to be filled with enthusiasm. What's enthusiasm? I'm going to just tell you what it means. It means to be filled with God. That's what it means. Okay. So I recommend, I'm a big believer in doing the most productive thing possible at every given moment. Sometimes that's, being with your spouse. Sometimes it's being with your kids. Sometimes it's exercising. Sometimes it's eating healthy. But sometimes it's a lot of the time it's working your primary business. I'll get into work in a second. But some of the times it's just stopping what you're doing and praying. Stop what you're doing and praising God for who He is and the fact He gave you breath that morning and what a blessing that is. Okay, so so you have to be enthusiastic and you got to be positive. Now let's talk about being positive. Art Williams, okay, he didn't do too bad in life, right? Went from a football coach to a multi-billionaire, and no piece of flesh had ever accomplished what he accomplished in starting from scratch to building a business. And now has 140,000 licensed people. Um, Last I heard, he had a goal that just for one day in his life, just one day, just be positive from the time he woke up to the time he went to bed. And to my knowledge, he's pushing late 70s now, and he's done pretty well in life. But to my knowledge, he's never hit that goal. Okay, Mark and Kathy Marchesani's heroes in the company, wonderful, godly people, $1 million earners. They decided 6 or 7 years ago, after trying to be positive and sucking at it and stinking it up and not doing well trying to be positive, they decided to forever give up on ever trying to be positive again. And they decided to shift to just try and become the most grateful people they know. Okay. And check this out for a second. Psychiatrists then came on board and said, if you want to switch your mindset, and this is something my team hears from me about 4 times a week. Okay. If you want to switch your mindset from being a negative person to a positive person, so instead of repelling people, you begin to attract people. You have to be positive. And the only way, according to psychologists, is to become a positive person is to focus on 3 things every day that you are grateful for. And if you focus on 3 things every day you're grateful for, you'll rewire the chemicals in your brain and shift you from being a negative person to a positive person. Can I ask you a question? Does anybody know some negative people in your lives? And can I ask you a question? Those people are always, you just say, how are you? And they just spew off negatives. You know what I'm talking about. Are those people, are they extremely grateful people? And the answer is probably not. They're probably not the most grateful people you know. That's why they spew off the negatives. So every day, what we should focus on, all of us, is these 3 things. Ready? Number one, we should be grateful that God is on the throne, that He's madly in love with you. They proved His love for you by sending His Son to die. That He knows the number of hairs on your head. He knew you before He knit you in your mother's womb. That is Plans are to bless you, to prosper you, to give you hope in a future, not to harm you. That's good news. That's really good news. Let's be grateful for that. We should always be grateful that we live in America. I know this is not a perfect country. I know there's tons of corruption, there's tons of division, there's tons of all kinds of challenges. But the last I checked, there's still about a couple billion people somewhere on this planet that would do anything, literally anything, to move their families here. And there's nobody who wants to leave. You know why? Because people can leave anytime you want. There's no one stopping nobody from leaving. So no one's trying to leave, but a couple billion people are trying to get here, and you're here. Okay. You should be grateful that you are in the land of the free, the home of the brave. We still got to pray for our country, but I would never bet against our country. It's the greatest country in the world. I know that because I'm an immigrant and I left a country that's been war torn for 30 years. And then the third thing we should be grateful for is that we're in Primerica, the greatest opportunity on the face of the earth as far as hours you put in, how much you can help people and make a difference in their lives. I'm going to pause for a second, okay? As far as helping people, this is something I say to my team all the time. Every time I do a recruiting interview, I say this stuff. You know why? Because at the end of the day, a lot of people, everyone wants to make money, but what an awesome extra bonus. The whipped cream and the cherry and the fact that we get to make money here is we get to help people and make a difference in their lives. Do we help people? Check this out for a second. It's proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. You go ask any pastor, any priest, any rabbi, what would they guess is the number one cause of marital distress and divorce? They'll tell you it's fighting about money and finances. The American Medical Association came out and said the number one cause of high blood pressure, diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, suicides is stress. That's the number one cause. And it's no secret, the number one cause of stress in America is financial stress. We don't just do some little thing around here. Okay, that's not what we do. What we do is we change people's lives. Okay, we help them fix the second most broken area in their life. The most broken area of most people's lives is their spiritual life. The second most broken area is their financial lives, and that impacts everything. Okay, so we heal people financially. That's a big dadgum deal, you guys, because of the negative impact of having broken or sick finances as your marriage, your family, your health, and everything else. Not just me saying it, the American Medical Association said it. Okay, so we get to help people and make a difference. Third is the money you can make. And we don't apologize for that here. I think I learned from Coach Bill, and I love this line, man. You ask most people, so how you doing financially? Hey, we're okay, man. We're getting by. We're paying the bills. We're blessed. Okay, and we think about it, how selfish does that sound? We're okay. We're getting by. We're paying our bills. Isn't that the definition of being a selfish person? That's what it sounds like to me. So bottom line is I'm a big believer when it comes to making money. The most selfish thing we can ever think or say is I need to make enough money for me and my family. Okay, so yeah, I've been blessed financially. This company's paid my family over $20 million. But at the end of the day, that ain't nothing compared to what I want to do. And it's not so me and my family can afford groceries and a roof over our head and a few vehicles. We're past that at this point. But what drives me every day, last month in February, I did 5 direct recruits and 9,900 personal premium and a couple 100,000 securities. I'm still on it. I'm still playing the game. I still want to get to 2 million and 3 million. I still want to develop more direct REPs. I still want to build a $100,000 base shop. But why would I want that if me and my family are comfortable financially? And the reason is what drives me, and feel free to trick yourself into this if you need to, but you got to have some desire. And desire is fueled by a cause that you can never fully solve. Okay. And once you have desire, I'm a big believer, desire overcomes everything. Man, not almost everything, everything. Give me a person with desire and you watch them become RBP, SNSD, Circle of Champions, and everything else. Desire overcomes everything. So let's just to talk that through for a second. When you think about it, As far as we help people, we change lives. But as far as making money, the stuff I say to myself every day is this morning, 100 million kids woke up somewhere in the world. No mom, no dad, no clothes, no food, no toys, no water, no food, probably in some garbage dump looking for a crumb to eat and then fighting some skinny dog for it. That's how they woke up. And here we are. Somebody tells us no. We have to lay back for about 2 days with a towel over our head, and a bag of ice overhead. Woe is me. I can't, guys, come on, somebody. I've been, one thing that makes me a little different, makes me tougher when it comes to building a primary business. I've been in the mission field. I remember one of my first trips, I went to Asaad, Dominican Republic. The average person makes $3 a day. I remember we were there for a week ministering, and it was a very poor area. Then we had to get up super early to go drive 3 hours and catch a flight home. So we were supposed to meet outside of the hotel, which is basically a dirt little area. And we were there at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like yawning. My bags are packed, ready to go. And when I got out the door, there was a little boy, probably, I don't know, 11, 12 years old. He had his shoe shine kit. He was there waiting for us as we got out at 5 a.m., ready, willing, able, and begging to shine our shoes so we can give him a few bucks. Now, check this out for a second. He was not there to shine our shoes so he can make some money to buy the latest Xbox. He was not there to shine our shoes so he can make some money to buy a cool, shiny, red new bicycle. He was there ready at 5 o'clock in the morning to shine our shoes so he can make some money and buy some food for his family. Okay. Now, yeah, we're rich Americans and giving him a few bucks is nothing to us. And we all did that. But when we're not there, he's dealing with people who makes $3 a day. Can I ask you a question? What kind of rejection do you think he's getting? Okay. He's getting people yelling at him, rejecting him, cursing him. That poor little Dominican boy just trying to do something to work hard to be able to make a little money, buy some bread for his family. He's getting rejected left and right, but it didn't stop him. All that rejection didn't stop him from being there in that little hotel dirt area in the middle of our room at 5 o'clock in the morning for a chance of making some money. Okay, what bugs me is people in Primerica, someone tells them, no, always me. God didn't mean for me to do this. This must be a mistake. I need to go somewhere. Come on, somebody. We have to have more grit than that, more belief than that, more intestinal fortitude than that. We're on a mission to do something huge, great, and incredible. And then so every day I say to myself, there's about a couple billion people who've never heard a clear gospel message of who Jesus is. And I know the internal impact of that. And it takes money. I'm on 5 or 6 ministry boards. And yeah, I love talking about what the fruit of what the ministry is doing. But unfortunately, we spend most of our time talking about the fact there's not enough money to do what the mission wants to do. So I'm a big believer, man, if we're in America, and in Primerica, we're double blessed. We're the greatest company as far as hours you put in, how much you can help people, and how much money you can make. I want to remind you, okay, wake up, and there should be nothing on your face but a big smile from ear to ear when you wake up and realize we're in the money business. There's more money in money than anything else. We're in the only company in the money business. You can do everything: insurances, investments, mortgage, legal protection, and fix the biggest problem people have, which is their income problem. Recruit. You're allowed to. Glenn Williams is not announcing any type of hiring freeze. Last I checked, you get to recruit people here. You get to recruit as many people as you want, and you can make literally all your dreams come true by doing that. We're the only company that has more people making $100,000 a year, $250,000 a year, $500,000, $1 million, more than any company in the world. We're the only company in the money business you get to earn ownership for you and your family and attract and retain the highest caliber of people out there because you get to offer them ownership too. I love and respect every one of you guys. James, I'm so proud of you, but I would think less of every one of you if the only reason you are here is to build a bigger business for Bill and Carol Render. That's not why you are here. Okay, we love and honor Bill and Carol. They're the greatest leaders on earth. I'm so grateful to God for them. But he'll tell you to your face, you are here to build a business to change every future generation of your family. and create a legacy of transformation and change so your family can live a life of significance and do great things, and each person can stand on the shoulders of the one behind them. Does that make sense? So I'm open to any question. I can certainly talk about more stuff, and I do want to bring up just a couple more things real quick. So one is listen, man, my ladies and gentlemen, my my whole 29.5 year career, I went around saying these words that whoever gets focused, okay, super focused, does the right things, works hard for 3 years, in a short 3 years, you can lay the foundation for a multi-million-dollar business, okay? Never before have I had the courage or the audacity to say the words, if somebody is willing to work hard, do all the right things, and focus for 3 months, 3 months, you can lay the foundation for a multi-million-dollar business. But that's what this COVID season has done. I'm gonna, give you some information that's probably gonna shock you that maybe you never heard before, just to emphasize how special the moment of time we're in right now actually is, okay? Everyone has heard of the Great Depression. A lot of people believe the Great Depression was the worst thing that's ever happened in America's history, financially speaking, okay? The Great Depression, unemployment peaked at about 25%, okay? Experts can now go back and prove, check this out for a second, the Great Depression was the single best thing that's ever happened to America, financially speaking. You know why? Because people had jobs, then they lost their jobs. They came home and they got sad and mad and cried and got depressed. Then they said, enough of that. I got to do something. I got to take care of my family. And they decided to pray and think, what am I going to do? And now we can go back and prove more millionaires, billionaires, and Fortune 500 companies were created because the Great Depression happened, because people lost their jobs. That never would have happened had people not lost their jobs, okay? And that's where we're at today. That came from unemployment numbers at 25%. Because of the pandemic and a whole bunch of industries being hurt, they're saying today, according to Primerica, 86% of households in the United States, 86%, their incomes have been reduced since the epidemic and the virus stuff. Okay, they're also saying that the not unemployment, but 33% of households in America, their incomes have reduced 30% or more because of these times. Do you know what that means? Hear me for a second. More than ever in my entire 29.5 year career, right now, people are willing to reinvent themselves more so right now than ever before in our country's history. You understand, when you bring on one of those people, and you better, I'm a big believer, my team is sick of hearing this, but all that's been coming out of me for the last 11 months is you got to strike while the iron's hot. You got to get while the getting's good. And time is money, and money loves speed. Money loves speed. Money doesn't wait around for you, okay? If you ever seen that movie, I forgot what it's called, but it was about Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. Those guys were at war, battling to be in position to be the biggest, whatever computer software company there was. And they were battling and vicious with each other. Because guess what? I mean, now they both dominate, but who's going to invent a software now that anyone's going to pay any attention to? Everyone's got Apple or they got Microsoft, and that's it. Nothing else is coming. No one is interested in anything else. It's over with. Time is money. Money loves speed. Opportunity does not wait around. Okay, the economy is going to heal, and when it heals, people get this false sense of security. They don't remember 07, 08 anymore. They don't remember the coronavirus saying stay home, and then their incomes went down or went away. They don't remember that stuff. Right now, it is absolutely fresh in their mind. We need to get while the getting's good. We need to strike while the iron's hot. We need to be more focused than we've ever been in our lives on recruiting people. And I want to put this care in front of you. I was talking to, I think, Fran Sullivan or Mike Adams at home office. He said there's been close to 500 ownership transactions in Primerica. And when that happens, when you're buying or selling, The value for every direct line RVP that makes over 100 grand, the value to your family is about $500,000. Think about that for a second. Stop and think. What else is anybody out there going to do today to have an increase of their net worth of $500,000? But if you can go out there today and recruit somebody who, like thousands of others, have becomes an RVP that makes six figures. Thousands of people have done that from every race, sex, color, age, education, background, and situation. Thousands have done that. You do that, your net worth just went up $500,000. Think about that for a second. What kind of urgency, what kind of desire, what kind of focus should we have that every day we're out there playing for a $500,000 increase to our net worth? Okay. So I just hope that this information blessed you. I got plenty more I can share, but James, I'm going to turn over to you if you want to open up for questions, whatever you'd like to do.
Yeah, man. I mean, that definitely is a blessing. All that information is great. But so, guys, you got questions for Asaad?
I do, James.
Go ahead, man.
Thanks, man. Hey, Asaad, thanks. That was fantastic. It's actually kind of exactly what I needed to hear. Hey, this is I guess less of like a fundamental or a building question, but just the mindset you have is so profound, and you could tell it's like so genuine. People talk about helping people, and of course we do that, but I'd honestly say I'm not thinking about that every time I do business or do whatever. But just what have you done to kind of really embody that in terms of like on daily practices, on what you're reading? Because obviously you're a huge success in the business, but you could just tell that you really mean what you're saying, and you really feel like you are genuinely making a difference. And it's so much more than about the money, which I think you said is kind of like a really long lasting motivation, kind of a different level of desire. And so what did you do to kind of, I guess, implement that mindset and be different than a lot of people who might not be where they want to be, myself included?
Yeah, great question, brother. So the answer is like, how like everything is addictive, and addictions are not always a bad thing. Like nobody who became a crackhead or a heroin addict got addicted the first day. They did it a little bit and a little bit more than every few days, and eventually they got hooked, right? Smoking, same thing. Nobody who smokes 3 packs a day became addicted the first day. They tried it, they coughed and said, this is stupid. For some reason, they did it again, and they become half a pack, a 2 pack. And so, but addictions, most people think addictions are bad things. Our coach, Bill Arundel, he's addicted. He's addicted to recruiting. He's addicted to talking about it. He's addicted to talking about becoming wealthy and becoming successful. So you can get addicted to good things. So I chose to become addicted to stuff like reading the Bible. I read a chapter a day, not a big deal. I chose to become addicted to giving. I personally think, it was said before, it's more blessed to give than to receive. So I wrote a book. It's on Amazon if you guys are interested. It's called Faith Over Finance. And it's all about making God the partner in your business. And the way that works is the more, like we all know as we're supposed to tithe 10%. But the way this works is the more you make, the more of a percent that you give. So God's the partner in your finances with the most incentive to grow your business, because the more you make, the more goes towards his causes. So Faith Over Finance, it's on Amazon. But long story short, what I did was I started having, like, you teach when you what you do to have a diversified portfolio and investments. Don't put all of it into international funds. Don't put all of it into bond funds, but diversify it, right? So I created what gets me thinking this way and believing this way is I started to diversify my giving portfolio. I give some to orphans. I give some to evangelism. I give some to both my favorite churches, my one in Michigan, my one in Florida. I give some to a youth for Christ that does and helps inner city kids. So I have a completely, and then once you start giving, they start calling you and saying, there's all the stuff that we need. Could you help out? I get calls every day at this point from a guy in India, from a guy in Honduras, from people all across the country who have tremendous needs. And all of a sudden that keeps me focused on the fact that I made my 1099 was $1.26 million, and I feel poor. I feel very poor because of the amount I can, the amount of need that's out there of stuff that inflames my heart. But the bottom line is I want to encourage everybody to make it real simple. The way I do it is every time we do a training, I always, let me just do this real quick. Hang on one second. I'm going to share my screen. Oops, that's all right. One second, guys. Okay. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
All right, great. So this is how I open up our trainings on Tuesday and Saturday. I have a different speaker do it, takes 5 minutes. But here's the idea. I'll just run through it with it. James, are we okay on time? We got a few minutes?
Yeah, we're good, Asaad.
Cool.
And Asaad, all we see is your document list. If you have a document that's been opened, you have to share that specific screen.
Okay. What do you see now? Do you see my desktop?
I see a list of all your PDFs and publications.
That's weird.
And you're doing a great job, Asaad. Thank you so much for sharing from your heart.
I appreciate that. Yeah, this is a very different share screen thing. I'm just trying to find, oh, here it is. Okay, let me try this. Now, can you see it?
Yep.
All right, cool. So this is real quickly here. Here's the idea. Whenever I do a training, I always explain to the team that if you're going to play a sport, go for a run, play tennis, play golf, play basketball, football, baseball, you're a fool if you don't stretch out your muscles first. If you don't stretch out your muscles, you could hurt somebody or hurt yourself. And same thing, I always remind my team that nobody needs to learn nothing in this training. What you need is reasons to learn, okay? So your reasons to learn is your dream life. I want to help you stretch out your dream muscles. And then we go on to say, not when, not if, you're making an additional $3,000 a month, which you can start doing immediately, or an additional $30,000 a month, which hundreds and hundreds of people in Primerica make that from every race, sex, color, age, background, education, and situation. So when you're making the additional money, okay, what the first thing I want to ask is why? How is it those people you love are better off? So bottom line is I want them writing as much as they can on when we're doing this. I want to see, I use words like I want to see tears coming out of eyes, smoke coming out of ears, snot coming out of noses. Get emotional. The more emotional you get about your dreams, the more desire you have to learn what we're going to teach today, the more desire you're going to have to implement what you learned today. Okay. So how is it those you love will build up? Will you retire your parents, buy your parents a home, retire your spouse, put your kids in Christian school? What are you going to do for people that you love? How are they better off? Because you're making more money. Once you decide this is the stuff I want to do for my loved ones, now you got to make the money. Next is causes you're passionate about. And for me, it's the mission field. It's a bunch of about a dozen or so organizations we give to that we're very passionate about. So when like I said before, it's selfish to say me and my family, we're okay. We're paying our bills. This is the stuff I put in front of people all the time. Next is dream trips. Bill Arender always says that some of the best memories he had with his family was the traveling they've done. And same with my family. I've been able to take my family all around the world. But, if I told you guys, hey, Bill and I just want to be nice. So let's just say there's no COVID. Pick 15 of your closest people in your life, your family, whatever, and pick anywhere in the world you want to go, and we'll pay for it. Go for 2 weeks, do whatever you want. Everything is covered. Have fun. Would you look forward to that trip at least a little bit, right? Of course you would. And then lastly is material stuff. And I've got that, the house, the cars, and just like Bill, like we use our stuff to be a blessing. Yes, our teams have come over numerous times. We've had as many as 26 people sleep in our home. But also, man, we had We had a Detroit Youth for Christ bring bus full of kids from the inner city to my home on the water. And we entertained them all day. We fed them, took them on boat rides, taught them how to fish. They did not want to leave when it was time to leave. We've had churches come over, do baptism services. We've had our church invite everybody over for a Memorial Day or Labor Day party after. So we've given back. So when, not if you have this kind of stuff, how is it you're going to be a blessing for others? So that's the kind of stuff I use to have the right mentality to go out there. And so it's levels of, Art Williams said everyone has to have their own personal management philosophy. Remember he said that?
Mm-hmm.
And so feel free to steal mine if you want. Mine is this. In what I do for a living, I want to really help people. And like I said, man, and what we do with people, with the financial products, the life insurance, the mutual funds, the debt freedom strategies, the legal, it helps people so that I can make as much money as possible. No limit. If there's a way to make 5 and 10 and 20 million a year in Primerica, sign me up. I'm coachable. Teach me what to do. And that's and so that I can help people globally. I can help those 100 million orphans that woke up. And by the way, every minute of their lives is scary and tear provoking and emotional. And we have no right, in my opinion, to take our sweet time and do what we need to do so we can be a blessing. I'm a big believer. I'll share, this is, let me open this real quick, 1 second. Yeah, this is, okay, I think this will work. Perfect. So real quickly here, this is just a few pictures. This is why I'm a big believer in Luke 12:48. This is I've done this a couple of times where I preached to crowds of 20,000.
We can't see the picture.
You can, okay.
Hold on, you need to reshare the screen. The picture got reopened up in another window, that's why.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's all right. I don't know what to do there. Usually I can just share them or whatever goes up on my desktop happens. So you can't see that right now, right? The picture I'm looking at, just.
That is correct. We cannot see that.
All right, no problem. All right, so we'll skip that. But anyway, it's just a picture of a massive crowd of people and me speaking to about 20,000 people. That's the kind of stuff. It says on their Luke chapter 12, this is what drives me. To a much is given, much is required. And every one of us, if we're in America, and we're in Primerica, and we are double blessed, and we have no right to think small, play average, focus on mediocre, but we've been given tremendous opportunity to do something huge and great and incredible. And it's our responsibility to go ahead and do that. Does that kind of answer your question, Matt?
Yeah, no, that helped a lot. I really appreciate it.
You got it. Any other thoughts or questions, guys?
Wait, can I ask a technical question, or is
Yeah.
everyone going to be mad at me?
No, go, man.
Hey, so the other question I had, Asaad, that was more of the mindset. Hey, on a building perspective, on a personal thing that we've struggled with is we'll get a month going where we get recruiting going. And obviously if you're recruiting and training, obviously the premium and the production and all that stuff flows. So I'll have like a month and we'll get some stuff going. We'll do like 15 by maybe just under 20,000. And then the next month, I find myself that, there's so many sales to close or business to write, which is a great thing, but the recruiting end stops. I'm wondering if you ever ran into that. Like I've heard people call it kind of like the seesaw. So like 1 month, premium and recruiting will be with it. And then the next month premium will still be really high, but the recruiting will drop, and
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you ever experienced that, or any advice
So-
to that, if it's a time management thing, if it's a, you know.
So what honestly, the good news is I believe that problem got solved on May 2nd, 2019, when they introduced the field training bonus. So my coaching for you on that is a couple of things. One is every time a new person joins, they will never exceed your level of expectation. The talk you want to give every brand new person is, listen, I believe you're going to be hugely successful here. I believe in 10, 20 years, everyone's going to come to you and say, hey, would you speak to my team? I got a whole bunch of people who would love to meet you. And they're all going to be so enamored by your success. And a bunch of them are going to ask you the same question. Can I ask you a question? What was it like when you started? What was it like your first week? What was it like your first month? Now, as a new person, I'm talking to a new person, you kind of think, yeah, I got time to get this thing going. I want to help you with your thinking. You know what I found out? You only have one first week. You'll never have a first week again. You only have one first month. You'll never have a first month again. Now, once they're appointed, I say it again. You only have one first month appointed
Right.
in money-making mode. You'll never have that again. When they're brand new RVP, you only have one first month as a new RVP. You'll never have that again. So whatever you do, you're gonna be telling the story for decades to come. So then when you think about it, then you explain the field training bonus. What do they gotta do to earn a unit or earn 300 bucks? One recruit, 1,000 premium. They are forced to do it to receive compensation. What
Right.
happens if a trainee does 10 life apps and 0 recruits? How much is their bonus going to be?
Nada.
0, right? So so that kind of solves the issue. Once you explain to them, it's a matter of the balance. That should solve it in your business. Second thing is I want to encourage you guys. Here's why you're here. You're RVPs, okay? And RVPs are what this is designed to do. The business was built for RVPs to promote RVPs to promote RVPs. That's what you're here to do. In order to have a business that's going to be an RVP factory, if you will, you got to focus on having a minimum of a 30 by 30 base shop. Now, I know it's not that easy, but let me just give you a little hint for a second. The way you get focused on a 30 by 30 base shop is I call it competing against the date. Okay. How many days are in a month? And the answer is approximately 30. So you should be laser focused as you look at if it's the third of the month, you need to fight to be a 3 by 3. If it's the 11th of the month, you need to fight with all you got to be 11 by 11. If it's the 19th, you got to fight with everything you got to make sure to call your team focused and have a business that it's over 19 by 19 at that point. So by focusing on the date, knowing you want to have a balanced business that promotes RVPs, knowing that requires at least 30 by 30, okay, that helps you keep focused, not, oh my gosh, how would I get it, to 3 recruits and 20,000 or 20 recruits and 3,000, but it helps you focus on a balanced business, if that makes sense. But the biggest thing, honestly, is you need to always do 2 things: plant for future and eat today. So that's the simplest answer to your question. If you're planting for the future, that means recruiting. You need to have a business and a mentality by which recruiting never stops, always focused on recruiting. Then also you got to eat today. So every time you get a recruit, the goal is, okay, so who's your life insurance with? Do you have any IRAs? Let's get your financial house in order. And then now let's get who your first top 3, your 3 closest relationships, your 3 refrigerator relationships. You can go in their home and open the refrigerator and not even feel awkward about it. That's how well you know those people. And that's how you get the thing going.
I love it. It's perfect. Appreciate it.
That's awesome. So I ask you a question, Asaad. I heard Ian do the best job ever of explaining 10 by 10, doing 10 by 10. He said he came to you, he did a school here in Dallas. Said, I went to Asaad and said, okay, what I really got to do to make some money? He talked about 10 by 10 and he kind of showed his path, and I thought it was just excellent. Can you expound on that conversation, talk about 10 by 10, just like you just did there? Why it's so important?
So 10 by 10 is the beginning. 10 by 10 is where you get to RVP. The first thing I want people to be super clear on when they're in your base shop is there's not one human being in the history of planet Earth that ever wanted to go to law school or medical school. Why would anybody want that? There's a whole bunch of people who want to become doctors and lawyers, and everything before becoming doctors or lawyers is just a step in the process. Law school and medical school is just a step. Well, in Primerica, nobody should ever want to get a license. Nobody should ever want to become a district leader or division or regional leader, because Art made it super clear from day one, this is a business where all the goodies go to RVPs. Okay, so how do you become an RVP? You got to get your business to a 10 by 10 level. So I want to make it clear in the expectation, the mentality, it's 10 by 10 or bust. It's 10 by, I don't know about you guys, but every single person I have below RVP seems to struggle financially. That we don't ever promise big money at this district or division or RL, but at RVP, you can make some big money. So we want to get everybody's mentality and expectation to where it's like even hard to breathe until you get to RVP. Massive, super focus. Just like everyone who's a medical school or a resident, they just can't wait to get all that crap behind them and finally become a doctor. It's RVP ASAP is the place to be. So that's the words behind it. Now, to be an RVP, you got to be doing 10 by 10. So how do you do 10 by 10? And the answer is this, and this is what Ian did great. But the short answer is I teach people the simplest way to do it is you got to do a minimum of 1 recruit, 2 clients per week. Most people here, I got to do 1 by 2 a week. That's not what I said. I said that should be a minimum. Okay, a minimum. Then you got to put in, so if you do 1 recruit, 2 clients per week for 3 straight months, by that 4th month, you do it again, you should have a 10 by 10 business, okay? Because you're recruiting a minimum of 1 recruit, 2 clients per week. And by the way, that comes from Art Williams. That comes from the 8-5-3-1 model. And if you get 3 clients and 1 recruit, and one of them is a chargeback, you net out 1 by 2 per week. Now, Ian is one of the few people that heard me say that correctly. Okay, he didn't hear 1 by 2 a week. He heard minimum of 1 by 2 a week. And that's why when he called me in December, said, I don't have a job, I don't have an income, I gotta make 6 figures. How do I make 100,000 in 2007? He called me December 06. I said, Ian, a minimum of 10 by 10, a minimum of 1 by 2 a week. And he decided to go out there and start doing 2 and 3 and sometimes 4 directions a week, and 2 and 3 and 4 life apps in a week. Okay, out there working his butt off. And then he became, I think, number 5 in the, now they call it the future, I think. So he went from nothing to number 5 in the future, and RVP going out doing about 25 by 25 just by focusing on that from January to May. So how do you do 10 by 10? And the answer is a minimum of 1 by 2 a week for 3 months. And how do you do that? And Art Williams answered that. Art Williams talked about having a strict and self-enforced reward punishment system. Okay, so here's what Art said to himself. He says, my goal is 3 recruits and 5 clients a week. That was his goal. Mine looks like nothing at 1 by 2. But if you do, he said that he just said to himself, I really enjoy goofing off on weekends. I don't want to work on weekends. I want to goof off because I enjoy goofing off. So he said to himself, because everything good or bad in the history of planet Earth happens after the words, I said to myself, okay? Every time of war, every time of peace, everyone that made it huge in Primerica, and everyone who struggled and quit. Everything good or bad happens after the words, I said to myself. Art said to himself, I want to goof off on the weekends. I don't want to work on the weekend. If I do 3 by 5, I'll goof off all weekend. That's what I want. If I don't hit it, I'm working all weekend. I don't want to. I want to goof off. So he had a strict and self-enforced reward punishment system to do 3 by 5 per week. And that's how he got this business going. That's how he built us and laid the foundation for what we're enjoying today. So that's my short answer. But you got to understand that 10 by 10 is not some huge, gigantic goal. It's like your day one in Primerica. You know, when someone says to me, tell me about your career as a doctor, tell me about your career as a lawyer, they want to know about your career as a doctor or lawyer. They don't want to hear about medical school and your residency program, okay? Day one as a doctor is after you finally graduate and become a doctor. And your primary day one in Primerica is after you've got the contract, you're an RVP, Learning the little stuff is behind you. You're doing 10 by 10. Now it's time to go build a business. So we got to stop looking at that like it's Mount Everest, like it's a huge, gigantic goal, and start looking like that, like it's day one, step one. And I want to just encourage, remind everybody I talk to about this, that, man, life ain't looking too, people who are in medical school, people who are in law school, people who are residents in the medical program, if you know them well and you watch them all the time, you have no idea what their hobbies are. You know why? They could have a whole bunch of hobbies they're passionate about, but you never know it because you can't see any of their hobbies. They got no time for hobbies. The only thing they're doing is studying and working. Okay. So for a season, it's everything you've got to get to the launching pad. The launching pad is 10 by 10. And when you think about like the space shuttle, it takes 8,000 gallons of fuel per second to get that thing off the ground, completely inefficient. But once that thing's in orbit, man, it takes, it's in outer space, it takes 0 gallons of fuel per second, and it's going hundreds of miles per hour. And that's where you want to be. You want to get everything it takes without looking left or right for a season to get it built to pass 10 by 10. And then, and the way you do the way you put that in your hands is just 1 by 2 week minimum for 3 months, and the 4th month you are there. And you can accelerate that by doing more than the 1 by 2 week.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's all I got. Does anybody else have anything else? All right. Well, Asaad, man, I forgot as we opened up to congratulate you for being one of the newest Circle of Champions. And so it's definitely an honor, bro, to hear from you and have you here and learn everything that you taught us, bro. We appreciate you.
I just want to say love and appreciate you guys. We're all like, we're family in this thing. We all come from the greatest hierarchy of rule breakers. Art Williams was a rule breaker. He broke through molds. A football coach launched this company. Then Ginny Carter was the only female of the founding 7. She broke the mold. She broke the rules. Bill Renner was the first guy in the history of the company to expand us from Georgia to a different state, to put us in 2 states, not 1. So that's our heritage. Every one of us should be super proud of the lineage we come from in the Primerica ancestry. So we need to go do something huge, great, and incredible that no one's done before. Love and appreciate you guys.
All right. Take care. Everybody have a good one. Take care, everybody. See you next month. Coach Bill.